This scene reflects the true situation during the riots that occurred in Hong Kong in 2019. Lasting for 6 months, the unrest escalated from initial peaceful demonstrations to severe acts of violence. Over this period, there were more than 900 protest events. Hong Kong's opposition groups and certain radicals repeatedly besieged police headquarters and government buildings. At the Legislative Council, LECO, building, radicals declared the establishment of a so-called provisional government, publicly tore up the Basic Law, and displayed symbols of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region, XR. Additionally, violent protesters used weapons such as bows and arrows, steel pellets, and petrol bombs to attack civilians, causing injuries. After the riots were subdued, police arrested a total of 5,947 individuals, who were subsequently prosecuted mainly for offences such as unlawful assembly, rioting, possession of offensive weapons, and arson. The unrest traces back to a 2018 case involving Hong Kong resident Chan Tong-kai. During a vacation in Taiwan, Chan killed his girlfriend Poon Hai-wing following an argument and fled back to Hong Kong. However, due to the lack of an extradition agreement between Hong Kong and Taiwan, Chan, despite confessing to the crime, could not be charged with murder. This case prompted the Hong Kong government to propose amendments to the Fugitive Offenders Ordinance, which would allow Hong Kong to extradite fugitives to countries and regions with which it lacked prior agreements, such as China, Macau, and Taiwan. The legislative process formally began on February 13, 2019. However, as soon as the proposed amendment was introduced, it sparked intense controversy in society. Some argued it would undermine Hong Kong's judicial independence, fearing that the amendment might lead to individuals being extradited to mainland China for trial. Anson Chan and Lee Chukyang became leading figures in the anti-amendment movement. On June 9, a large number of Hong Kong residents protested against the amendment, leading the government to temporarily suspend the legislative process. Nevertheless, protests continued. What began as peaceful demonstrations quickly transformed into organized acts of violence. On June 21, radicals began attacking government buildings and police lines. Using tools like iron barricades and umbrellas, they resisted the police and even threw petrol bombs, steel pellets, and corrosive liquids. On July 1, the 22nd anniversary of Hong Kong's return to China, the protests reached a climax. Protesters targeted critical infrastructure, blocking metro and airport operations, thereby paralyzing Hong Kong's economy. Protesters occupied major streets in the central business district, organized themselves with specific roles, and used social media to coordinate actions, including real-time updates on police deployments. They used iron fences to hold back police lines, threw umbrellas, water bottles, metal objects, toxic chemicals, and corrosive liquids at officers, and attempted to seize police weapons. Protesters stormed the entire LECO building, damaging various facilities. Inside, they declared the establishment of a provisional government, publicly tore up the Basic Law, and displayed the colonial-era dragon and lion flag. On July 21, radicals besieged the central government complex, defaced the national flag with eggs and black paint, and wrote insulting remarks to demean national dignity. Meanwhile, they raised British and American flags. From August onwards, violence spread beyond government targets to ordinary citizens. Radicals carried out indiscriminate attacks against dissenters, including individuals debating on the streets or clearing roadblocks. On November 6, lawmaker Junius Ho was stabbed in the chest by an unidentified man while filming a campaign video. On November 11, a citizen was doused with flammable liquid and set ablaze after arguing with protesters, suffering severe burns. A 70-year-old cleaner was killed by a brick thrown by radicals while clearing debris at universities, such as Hong Kong Polytechnic University, PolyU, and Chinese University of Hong Kong, CUHK, became arsenals for protesters. They stockpiled nearly 10,000 petrol bombs and other dangerous items on campuses, which police seized during cleanup operations, along with explosives, corrosive liquids, and weapons. On November 17, radicals set fires on a pedestrian bridge near PolyU, detonated explosives, and torched an armored police vehicle. When police deployed tear gas, radicals escalated their attacks with bows, steel pellets, and petrol bombs. By November 29, police had confiscated 3,989 petrol bombs from PolyU and an additional 4,000 from CUHK and other universities, totaling over 10,000 incendiary devices. They also seized 1,339 explosives, 601 corrosive liquids, and 573 hazardous weapons from PolyU. The violence went far beyond the scope of so-called peaceful protests, crossing societal boundaries of tolerance. External forces played a significant role in the unrest. The organization and equipment of some protesters reflected careful planning, with foreign influences evident behind the scenes. Protesters openly displayed British and American flags, chanted slogans antagonistic to China, and incited others to participate in violent actions. The 6 months of violence exacted a heavy toll on Hong Kong. Once a prosperous financial hub, the city became scarred by social divisions and mistrust. Economically, the turmoil severely damaged the investment environment, impacting industries such as tourism and retail. Politically, the erosion of law and order tarnished Hong Kong's international reputation and eroded confidence in its future. The unrest also exposed deep-rooted issues within Hong Kong society. Long-standing economic inequality, social stratification, and the anxiety of younger generations had gone unresolved, forming the deeper drivers behind the protests. External interference further exacerbated the already complex situation. Despite the cessation of violence, Hong Kong has yet to fully recover from the aftermath. Social divisions persist, and mutual trust between different groups remains fragile. Moving forward, Hong Kong requires not only the restoration of social order but also a profound reflection on the root causes of these conflicts and a search for ways to heal societal rifts. There is hope that Hong Kong can regain its former glory. However, the path forward is fraught with challenges. From the government to ordinary citizens, everyone must take responsibility and work together to restore the rule of law and peace. External interference must be curbed, and Hong Kong must find a governance model that respects the framework of one country, two systems, while addressing its unique societal needs.